Hi everyone, cancel culture is alive and well in Ireland now. This is in relation to an event that was being organised in late August in Drumshanbo in County Leitrim. This was a Misha Éireann event that was due to be held in a Mayflower Community Centre in Drumshanbo. And the purpose of the event was to cherish Irish culture, heritage, and for people to be united in celebrating shared values. Now, over 400 tickets were sold, and there was a number of speakers that were going to speak about these issues as well, and musicians. It was going to be a day of celebration, I think from 2 o'clock until 11 o'clock at night. Now, this caused major issues because a number of those speakers are against mass immigration, and it caused issues amongst a group in Leitrim called Leitrim Against Racism and Fascism, who set up a petition, and they got over 260 signatures and said all these dangerous ideas must be silenced. Isn't that interesting? So much for living in a democracy. And as well, they composed a letter that comprised over 500 to 600 musicians who signed up for this. And they said that it was for the long-standing and rich tradition of hosting vibrant, uplifting, diverse and inclusive cultural events. Now, some of those musicians who signed up were Christy Moore, of course, the ordinary man, not so ordinary now, he's a multi-millionaire, Christy Moore, and Kneecap, again, who were victims themselves of censorship and cancel culture because of their views on Gaza, and also the Saw Doctors, a Galway band, and Moya Brennan of Clonard fame as well, who signed up to this letter. Now, they also said that all centres are off limits to these dangerous ideas. Now, how is opposing mass immigration a dangerous idea? Just demonstrates the madness in our society. And really, when you look at it, so many other people who are opposed to freedom of speech, of freedom of thought, freedom of conscience, freedom of expression, these are fundamental tenets of any democracy. And of course, dissent is vital within those democracies. And to have debates and discussions so you get good ideas that percolate to the top following those discussions. That's what's vitally important in any function in our healthy democracy. But you know, we're anything but a function in our healthy democracy. Now, a lot of harassment was targeted at a number of the organisers as well, and illustrations were made depicting them in very inhumane fashion, which I absolutely found despicable. But at the same time, as I said, freedom of speech is under attack, and those who claim they're victims of censorship now are the ones putting the boot down on the neck of others from speaking out on what's going on. And in the context of this was an event to cherish Irish culture, heritage, and for people to be united, according to the organisers, in celebrating shared values. It's not very interesting at the same time when you consider what's happening to our society through the political establishment. We have branch managers, or somebody referenced in my video a number of days ago, the prefect, Micheál Martin, and Simon Harris, who are more willing to do the bidding of the globalists rather than serving the interests of ordinary people. But we all know that mass immigration is a globalist agenda, a race to the bottom in terms of wages. 1 in 5 workers in Ireland are low-wage workers, and this is a big benefit of that. And on top of that, we've had the commercial property owners making massive money from it. The keeps accommodation costs high, out of reach for more and more people in society. And as well, it's easy to control society when they've no ties to your land, culture, heritage, history, or whatever people may entertain the prospect of having pride in your national identity in terms of your history. And it's interesting, I'm at a house here on Rathcar Avenue in Dublin 6, and this is a very interesting location, because if you look behind me, it's the home of where George Russell lived from 1906 to 1932. And he was instrumental in the Gaelic revival, and he was editor of the Irish Homestead in 1906 onwards, that brought agricultural cooperation towards rural communities, and also was a forerunner of building cooperative banks. And as well, he spoke out against the Censorship Act with the Irish Free State in the early 20s, because they were looking to try and ban certain books. And of course, he was for freedom of speech at the same time. And of course, he was a man who wrote very well about the national identity and national being in 1914. Let's just wait till the truck passes. The national being. And he spoke about thoughtfully discussing what the vision of Ireland should look like. And he said in that beautiful piece on what Irishness means, and of course he was in tune with the spirituality and the understanding of what people are in terms of our identity. And of course he had big relations with so many of those prominent Republicans at that time, people who stood up for Irish independence, many patriots such as Patrick Pearse, James Connolly himself, were well regarded as regards in terms of, at those times, stood on many platforms together speaking about what was taking place in Irish society in terms of the inequalities, in terms of the class system, these other issues in Irish society. But he spoke to say in the heroic ages we would not have taken us as they do today, the huckster Republican, and make them our representatives to corrupt the national system. Now, of course, George Russell, AE as he was known, was buried then in Mount Jerome, died in 1936, was a prominent artist, writer, poet, and was really in tune with what was taking place in Irish society at the time as well, and spoke out against censorship, and which is the same as what I was speaking about initially in terms of the censorship and the cancelling of these events. It just shows you it's absolutely madness was taking place in Irish society, where you can't host an event to celebrate and cherish Irish history, Irish culture, Irish identity, and people are opposed in various means to various issues. Come and debate those issues in open forums, but they don't want to debate those issues because they want to silence them, and they themselves are calling for their draconian restrictions, for instance on hate speech and other laws as well, which is going to attack ordinary people's freedom of speech, and ultimately going to face them in the face as well, because it's the establishment who benefit from this, the ruling classes who are corrupt to the core, much the same as what George Russell spoke about and wrote about many, many years ago as well. And it's so important now more than ever. So listen, thanks a lot so much for all the video support my videos. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. Thanks for sharing my videos far and wide as well, and please share them. This is very important what's taking place in Irish society today. So from Rockar, thanks a lot. Bye bye.